Now let's discuss the chapter 13, organism and population. So in this, basically the type of organism, habitat, climate changes, and the type of interactions among the species are given. So now the about the ecosystem, the temperature, it's the basic. Then 37-degree temperature is the constant temperature of a human body. Deviation from this is the symptom that there is some disease. Then it's not like that the organism living in water, they don't face any problems related to water. They also face like hypersalinity or the quality of water. Not only quantity but quality also matters. So in inland water, the concentration of water is less than 5 parts per thousand ppt. Then in sea it is 30 to 35, and in hypersaline legumes it is greater than 100. In 500-meter deep sea, light doesn't penetrate, all the light doesn't penetrate. So there are different types of organism live there who even synthesize their own food using the chemicals redox reaction. In temperate countries like Canada and Germany, mango trees can't grow because they need high temperature for the ripening. Then snow leopard can't be found in the Kerala forest. Tuna fish is rarely caught beyond tropical latitude. Then regulators can regulate, conformers can't conform. 99% of the animals and nearly all plants are conformers. Then suspend in bacteria, fungi, lower plants. Bacteria, kingdom Monera, fungi, kingdom fungi, and lower plants, kingdom plantae. Various kinds of thick walled spores are formed which help them to survive unfavorable conditions. These germinate on availability of the suitable environment. In higher plants, seed are some vegetative reproductive structure so as the means to tide over periods of stress beside helping adaptations. Then adaptations are physiological adaptation, behavior adaptations, biochemical adaptations are there. Behavior like reptiles during daytime go into the deep, and biochemical kangaroo rat physiological adaptations are there. Kangaroo rat in North America. Population growth model. Then dn by dt birth, dn by dt p minus t into n. For Norway rate 0.015, for human 0.0205 1981, for flower petal 0.12. It is our intrinsic rate of natural increase, and is equal to n not e to power rt. Then logistic growth of dn by dt is equal to rn k minus n upon k. Small sized offspring, oyster, pelagic fish, birds, mammals. Then population interaction, predation, competition, mutualism is there. Then come to the predation, that is prickly pear cactus introduced in Australia in early 1920s. Prickly pear cactus in Australia in early 1920s. They caused the havoc and spread to millions of hectares of rangeland. Finally, the invasive cactus was brought under control only after cactus feeding predator, a moth. Then American Pacific Coast. In rocky intertidal communities of American Pacific Coast, starfish disaster is an important predator. In a field experiment, when all the starfish were removed and closed intertidal area, more than 10 species of invertebrate extinct within a year because of interspecific competition. Then camouflage in butterfly monarch is there. Camouflage is there, monarch. Some plants produce poisonous things, cardiac glycosides. Then competition. Like earlier it was said that competition can only occur in very closely related species when resources and space are limited. But it's not always true. Like competition can occur in totally unrelated species also, like in the shallow South American lakes. Visiting flamingos and resident fish compete for their common food, that is zooplankton. So for competition, closely related species is not a requirement. Then interference competition. The feeding efficiency in interference competition, the feeding efficiency of one species is decreased due to presence of other species, even when space and food are abundant. Like abundant tortoise in Galapagos Island became extinct within a decade after goats were introduced on the island. Then it was called the interference competition. Then the competitive release. In this, the distribution of one species is limited due to competitively superior species. When experimentally that competitively superior species was removed, then those species, like example is Connell's elegant field experiment on the rocky sea coast of Scotland. The larger and competitively superior barnacles, that is the balanus, dominate Scotland, the intertidal area, and exclude the smaller barnacle Cathamelus from that zone. Then competitive exclusion principle. This is not always true. Instead of this, in nature, resource partitioning is more favored. Like experiment of MacArthur showed that 5 closely related species of warbles living on the same tree were able to avoid competition and coexist due to the behavioral differences in their foraging activities. Then parasitism is there. Trematode. A snail and a fish. The human liver fluke and trematode parasite depend on two intermediate hosts, a snail and a fish. Many marine fish are infested with ectoparasite copepods cascata, a parasite plant that is commonly found growing on hedge plant. Brood parasitism is seen in spring to summer. Then commensalism. In this, one species is benefited, other remains neutral. Barnacles growing on back of whale. Ergot cattle relationship. Sea anemone and clownfish. Mutualism is there. Lichen is the association of a fungi and algae. Mycorrhiza is the association of a fungi and roots of higher plant. In mutualism, plants provide nectar and the insect, birds, other helps in the pollination, but some are nectar stealer also. Mediterranean orchid of Pyrus employs sexual deceit. Its one petal of its flower bears and by a species of bee uncanny resemble to the female of the bee in size, color and barking. So when the bees evolve, the plant also has to evolve, otherwise the mechanism of sexual deceit will fail. Now 14th chapter of ecosystem of 12th bio, that is the ecosystem. Now in this we'll start from the productivity. In weight it is expressed as gram per meter square. In terms of energy it is expressed as kilocalorie per meter square. In terms of productivity, the rate of biomass production is called productivity, and in terms of gram per meter square per year or kilocalorie per meter square per year. Gross primary productivity, GPP, is the total biomass which is the produced and NPP, net primary productivity. GPP minus R is equal to NPP. R is the respiratory losses. Then decomposers breakdown in in decomposition, decomposers break down organic into inorganic substances. So different processes are there. First, detrivore, that is the earthworm, break down organic complex organic substances into the simpler organic substances. This is called the fragmentation. Then after fragmentation there is leaching. In this, water soluble salts minerals go deep down into the earth and becomes their sediment in the form of unavailable salt. After leaching there is catabolism, and these simpler organic substances are now by the bacteria and fungi break down into the simple inorganic substances. Then there is humification. In this, accumulation of dark colored amorphous substance called humus that is highly resistant to microbial action and undergoes decomposition to an extremely slow rate. So humification, in this, accumulation of dark colored amorphous substance called humus is there, and decomposition of humus is very slow because it's colloidal in nature. After humification there is, so we did fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humification, now mineralization. Again on this, some microbes act and release inorganic nutrients by the process of mineralization. So if a substance is or detritus is rich in chitin or lignin, then decomposition will be slow. If it is rich in the like saccharides, then like in nitrogen, water soluble substance like sugars, then decomposition will be fast. Then energy flow, as you know that the energy flow follows the 10% law. Then come to the next, that is the DFC, detritus food chain. It starts with the dead and decaying matter. Then there is grazing food chain. It starts with the plant. Two terms are there: standing crop and standing state. Standing crop is measured as the mass of living organisms, means biomass, or the number in a unit area. Biomass in a unit area. Then there is a standing state, means how many inorganic substances like nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus are there in a unit area at that particular time. Then there is pyramid. Most are the pyramid of biomass in sea ecosystem is inverted. Then pyramid of number in grassland ecosystem. Approximately 60 lakh primary producers are there in grassland ecosystem. Then primary consumers are approximately 7 lakh. From 60 lakh primary producer to 7 lakh primary consumer. Then 4 lakh, approximately 4 lakh secondary consumer, and only 3 tertiary consumers. Means you can say that only 60 lakh plants support only 3 tertiary consumers. Then pyramid of biomass shows a sharp decrease in biomass at higher trophic level. Primary producers of biomass 809, that is kg per meter square. Then primary consumer 37, secondary 11, and tertiary 1.5. Then inverted pyramid of biomass, standing of phytoplankton support large, that is biomass in sea ecosystem of phytoplankton, that is the 4, and its support and of biomass of primary consumer is 21. Then energy follows the 10% law. Ecological succession means today wherever we are seeing the climax community, sometime once there would be only just rocks would be there. So what would have happened if the succession is in the hydrarch, then it's called the hydrarch succession, and if it is in the means dry area, then it's called the xerarch succession. Both goes through the basic condition. So lichens are the pioneer species. If succession is in primary succession, then it is slow. If it is secondary succession, then it will be relatively fast. Then there is in succession, the term in series, these are called serial community. So So first there is a phytoplankton, then submerged state, then submerged free floating, then marshmallow stage, then after submerged free floating there is reed swamp, then marshmallow scrub, then there is climax community. Nutrient cycling, standing state. The amount of nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, etc. present in the soil at any given time is referred as the standing state. Nutrient cycling has two types, that is the gaseous and sedimentary cycling. Gaseous like of carbon, and sedimentary example phosphorus cycle. Carbon contribute 49% of dry weight of organism. 71% of carbon is found in dissolved in the oceans. Means we can say that oceans are the reservoir of the carbon, and there is significant respiratory release of CO2. According to an estimate, 4 into 10 13 kg of carbon is fixed annually. Then phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus is in shell, bone, teeth. Robert Constance. So ecosystem services. Because we take something as taken granted, so Robert Constanza and his colleagues try to put price to the ecosystem services, and it became 33 trillion US dollars. It is approximately twice the number of GNP, global gross national global gross national product, which is 18 US trillion dollars. So in this 50% for the formation of soil formation, recreation and nutrient cycling, less than 10%, 50% for soil formation, recreation, nutrient cycling less than 10%, climate regulation and habitat for wildlife are about 6% each. Climate and habitat. So these are our the 4 chapters. That's all. Thanks for watching.